AI has collapsed the barrier to entry to starting a small business. I'm Alex, and this is Hammer Strikes. In the early part of the decade, 2020 through 2026, there were about 32 million small businesses. Now there are over 34 million small businesses. We have seen a 9.7% increase in the number of small businesses this decade. Okay, when AI hit the scene, right, there were over 5 million people per year applying to start small businesses. Okay, that's a 60% increase from the pre-2020 era, from the pre-ChatGPT era. Okay, what does this mean? Well, it means that AI has had a cataclysmic impact on the cost to actually start up your small business. Now you don't need a small company anymore. You don't need a marketing team. You don't need a developer. You don't need someone to spin up that website for you. You don't need somebody answering your emails or doing scheduling for you. Now AI tooling can do all of those things. Now, if you're not a developer, there are a plethora of products that have become available, a plethora of solutions that are pre-canned, where you can basically have an application that will act as your AI receptionist. You can have an application that will spin up your website, just in a couple of hours from the ground up, and it will just work. That is insane leverage for people that are looking to start businesses. That is an insane cost reduction for people who are trying to start businesses. Now, just some husband and wife duo with a good idea who have a problem that they can solve can absolutely just jump into it and get started, okay? It's a lot more accessible now. Now, don't get me wrong, with that reduction in the barrier to entry, that does not mean that everybody is going to be successful, okay? Within the first 5 years of starting a business, most businesses fail. In fact, I think it's over 50% of businesses that fail. I don't see that number going anywhere anytime soon. I think that you're still going to see a lot of businesses fail. Okay, but the barrier to entry is lower. So I think what we will see is we will see more people taking the risk. We will see more people trying to get started on starting a small business, because the costs are lower than they've ever been before. Leverage is higher than it's ever been before. Now, who is this going to impact the most? I see this impacting people with valuable skills the most. So if you're a white-collar professional or a tradesman, okay, I think that this is going to have a high impact on you, because you have skills that you can leverage into a consultancy or into a lightweight business model where your skills can lead to basically service contracts, service agreements, or your skills can basically go to kind of selling products or creating kind of lightweight products that people can buy. I also think that if you're in the tech space, if you're a computer science graduate or somebody who has any capability with software, I think that this has an extraordinary impact on you, because as a developer, you understand API backends, you understand how to actually utilize large language models to their fullest, so you can get the most out, the cheapest compared to everybody else. And your product, okay, if you're working in software, your product is virtually zero cost, okay? You just develop the product yourself, okay? There's no physical component to it, so you don't actually need to invest in anything. You just need a laptop and an internet connection, maybe access to some cloud tooling to be able to host your product, to be able to host your application. And that's it. Okay, so overall, AI has basically destroyed permission. You don't have permission anymore to not get started. You don't, okay? If you have a problem and you can solve it, you can start a business. That's pretty much all it takes now. You just need a problem. Okay, now I don't believe that everybody is going to be a founder. I don't believe that everybody has the skills that's required to start a business. Okay, so I don't see the market shifting to, like 80% self-employment. That's not going to happen. But what I do see happening is a large increase in the number of people who are self-employed. That number has relatively been flat. It's been sitting around 10% year over year. I see that number escalating probably to close to 20%. Okay, especially over the next decade. I think absolutely you see a lot more people taking the risk and just making the jump. We're already seeing it. 60% jump in small business applications, at the turn of the decade. Yeah, there's a lot more people taking the risk. So, and I see that getting more and more as more people see people succeed. I think that more people are going to actually give it a go. And as the labor market continues to be broken, as it continues to take, 6+ months to find a job, particularly for white collar professionals, okay? I think a lot of people will say, you know what, instead of spending the 6 months applying to jobs, how about I spend the 6 months just trying to own something, trying to build something? Especially if you have the savings that you can lean back on, okay, while you go ahead and try to start something else up. Why wouldn't you try if you have an idea that you believe has value? Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not advising people make irrational decisions. Okay. If you require a stable income to support your family, don't just go all in on starting a business. Okay. But there are also alternative paths. All right. You can have a job and start a business on the side. Now, being a business owner is very time consuming, but depending on what it is, there are some lighter weight solutions, lighter weight business models that you can pursue if it's something that you're interested in. Okay. So ownership, as we've seen, especially over the last 50 years or so, has been disproportionately rewarded in the labor market. Okay, we're not exactly seeing people get fairly compensated for the value that they're outputting. Now, there is something to be said about taking the risk and owning the risk, therefore owning more of the upside. But there is a certain point where that model breaks. Okay, I used to work for a large shipping company. Purple logo, moves lots of boxes. You've probably heard of them. Okay. Well, my team was responsible for a $67 million per annum cost reduction. My reward was a $200 gift card. That's wild. That's a wildly disproportionate, asymmetric reward. Now, don't get me wrong, the company, they owned all of the risk, okay, so they got to own pretty much all of the upside, but there's a certain point where the model breaks, especially when you have a significant impact on generating that cost reduction. Okay, that's a true story, okay? Absolutely wild. But, I'm not mad at it. I kind of just laugh at the system, okay? The system does not reward your labor output anymore. And as that continues, as companies continue to reduce or stagnate wages, as they continue to cut benefits and pursue basically contract to hire relationships over FTE. I think that this just continues to get worse for people. I think it doesn't get worse, apocalyptically, but I think it gradually pushes more people into ownership. And with the permission being gone, you don't need permission anymore. With the barriers being gone, why wouldn't you try to own something? I'm Alex. This is Hammer Strikes. Go build something.